Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda Ma. I'm the Chief Experience Officer and founder of INNOVATE Marketing Group. We are an experience agency based in Los Angeles, and we specialize in event management and experiential marketing. Today, I'm joined by Bert Cooley, one of our amazing marketing interns at INNOVATE Marketing Group. And as this is the month of Women History Month, since it's March, we have been spotlighting amazing women in business, leaders, and also event professionals. And for this week, we want to give an opportunity to a young professional like Bert to ask some questions regarding being a woman in business, especially in women entrepreneurship, and advice that we would give to a woman starting out in their professional careers. So really no boundary here. We're just here having some fun. So let's go ahead and jump in. Before we get started, let's have Bert do a quick intro. Bert, tell us about yourself. Where do you go to school now? And why did you decide to take this internship at INNOVATE Marketing Group?
Hi, I'm Bird. I am a junior at Loyola Marymount University here in Los Angeles, and I am a marketing major. And so I saw the opportunity to intern at Innovate Marketing Group, and I was drawn to it mostly because as a young woman in business, I love that Innovate Marketing Group is run by women by Amanda, and yeah, that was really important to me. And so I interviewed, met them, learned more about it, and just learned how cool of a company this is. And I'm so happy to be here.
That's
Um,
wonderful. You have been phenomenal. So happy to do this fireside chat with you today.
Me too. So, anyways, jumping into it, Amanda, what is your role at Innovate Marketing Group?
So I am the CEO and founder of Innovate Marketing Group. However, my CEO stands for Chief Experience Officer because here at our agency, we're all about the experience. It's not just an event for us. At the end of the day, we want people to be able to walk away with an experience.
So, how long have you been in events?
I've been in events for about 17 years and still loving it.
Amazing. You are obviously an incredible entrepreneur. So, I would love to know what is something that you wish you had done differently at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
I wish I joined a business group much earlier or hire a business coach. I think in the beginning, I just tried to do it on my own. But now, having gone down the journey, I feel like if I'd done that earlier on, my business would be at a different level today.
That's good advice. This might be a difficult question to answer because you have so many, but do you have an accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Ooh, that is kind of hard. I would definitely say, there are a lot of favorite moments, but one that really stood out is when we did our first event that really involved the White House and Secret Service, because that is at a completely different level in terms of event planning, event management, and just handling certain type of requests, right? I mean, we had the President of the United States at our event, so dealing with that and Secret Service. So, after we finished that event and did a really fantastic job. Even the White House gave us thumbs up. So, then it was like, okay, we're at a different level now. Right. So I was very proud of I just proud of the whole team for what they were able to accomplish. And I would say, because of all the demands, right, it's very specific so that if we could handle that, I feel like you can handle any type of event.
Yeah. And what led or inspired you to create Innovate Marketing Group specifically?
I actually used to own another events agency, and that one I had a business partner. This one is on my own. And what's really sparked my interest in creating my own business and specifically in events is just the fact that I was actually attending a lot of events myself. And what I come to realize was all the events were so boring and very much the same, right? And I just feel like events it should be about an experience, and that's why in the beginning I mentioned, we're an experience agency. You don't hear me say we're an event agency. It's very different. I think also just beginning with the mindset, right? So every event we create, I want to make sure it's so memorable. Like some of the events we create, like there's events at a hotel grand opening we did 10 years ago. People are still talking about that now, and that's the legacy that we want to leave behind.
Yeah, yeah. And I love how you say that like you think events should be fun, like they're really fun and a full experience. And you bring that not only into your events, right, but also into the workplace. And something that IMG employees always say, or like a kind of slogan that we always hear around is, we love what we do. And so how do you how do you create such a great work environment in such like a positive, loving work environment? Are there any rules that you live by regarding running a happy company or yeah?
That's a great question. I just think about, where do I want to go, right? Where do I want to work? And honestly, I spend so much time with the team. And I just think, if I want a great culture, like I want to be able to walk in and put a smile on people. Like I'm excited to come in versus like, ugh. And it's true because, I'm a mom. I sit on different boards. I run a company, right? So there are days my beginning of my day is already pretty chaotic, right? Getting the boys out the door and trying to get dressed and coming to the office. But when I walk in, I see the team here, it just puts a smile to my face. And I love that feeling. And I think having that culture here where it's like, as a team, you work hard together, you really strive for excellence. But in addition to that, making sure we have fun along the way, right? I really believe that life is too short to just come in, do a job, and then go home and have fun somewhere else. Why can't we have fun here? So we really try to infuse that. Like, excellence here for us is not it's a habit. It's just a common practice that we do here, but then we infuse the fun. So there's someone within our company, she's our people and culture coordinator, and she helps us do our company like culture event monthly. Events and experiences is all about sparking something, like sparking joy, and I truly believe what we do here is help change lives for the better. That's like part of my bigger mission versus beyond just like events, and then so I want to do that starting from the people here that we touch. Right. So they come to work, we do great work. And that's why like our culture events are so fun. Even during the pandemic, we made it fun. And that was like virtual. We did like Lego team building, we did scavenger hunt. Like I remember one of the staff, her roommate was like, how come you're not working? You're playing with Legos. She's like, no, I'm working. Like it's my coworker on the screen and my boss is on the screen. And we're all like competing, right? Because trying to build the Lego. And then her roommate was like, wait, where can I get a job application for this company? But sometimes it's just work, right? And I don't know if you guys seen that movie. It says, all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy. So kind of, I don't know. Just again, life is too short. So let's make it fun.
And in terms of being a female entrepreneur, I'm sure like you are someone that many women entrepreneurs look up to. And so I would love to know, if you like, who are your biggest influences or inspirations?
There's so many. I mean, Oprah, Michelle Obama. There's also like Sheryl Sandberg, my other good friend, Kalika. I mean, at all different level, there are all these phenomenal women, just really change agents of, whether it's within their industry or just within the movement of entrepreneurship, or just, woman of, the modern day woman, to put it into perspective. But I think all of them motivate me in different way. And there's actually an exercise that I went through, about what I really care about, who I look up to. Mother Teresa is one of them. So in addition to running a successful business, philanthropy has always been a big part of my, I guess, me as a person too. So I kind of bring that into my company, and also just like what it is that's important to me, because I want to be able to leave every place that I touch a little bit better than the way I found it. So I think all those women are so phenomenal in their own way. One of the most recent TED Talks I just saw with Sheryl Sandberg, it's all about keeping your hands up. And if you guys have a chance, definitely Google it, watch it. And her talk is all about a lot of time women, we just listen too well, right? And then so she was doing a speech somewhere, and then she literally said, okay, two more questions, right? So a lot of the women after two questions will put their hands down. A lot of men still kept their hands up, right? So it's like, and then her message is about women keeping their hands up and don't just like give up so easily, and I truly really like that. And like, not because of moments in life you just kind of give up. Like, you have to be able to step up, you have to keep your hands up for those opportunities to come, right? And I'm always about, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I think that's always, and I teach my kids that too. At the very young age, when they need something at a restaurant, I would say, go ask. Go ask the staff. I remember even my 4-year-old, one time we took him to a place, restaurant, and he wanted like extra straw or something. So he went up to the counter and asked for straw. He was so little, they couldn't even see him. They're like, where's that sound coming from? And then he had to like raise his hand and be like, I'm down here, like, I need a straw. But I think it's just teaching them like it's okay to ask, right? And I also kind of prep them, like, in case someone says no, it's also okay, because maybe they ran out of straws, so they don't get discouraged so easily, or because it's hard for people to say no, right? So kind of prep them, right? But I was like, if you ask, you have 50% better chance than compared to when you don't ask. Because when you don't ask, you have 100% no chance, right? And what's the worst thing that can happen? They say no,
Yeah,
right?
that's so
So
beautiful. And I think that's so like such a great important lesson to learn, especially as women, like learning to keep your hand up and to just ask for things and not be afraid to be told no can be sort of difficult, because that's not really what we're taught to do in society. And so being able to hear those lessons and watch that happen and other incredible women and to, from people like you is really, really important.
yeah. And I
Um,
would say if someone say no to you, you could ask the question, why? That's also a great follow
yeah,
up, right? So maybe, I don't know, maybe you're applying for a job and then you didn't get the job. I think a great question to ask is, what could I do better? Just like, we get
mm,
most of the contract, our closing rate is pretty good here, but once in a while we don't get a project. And my favorite question to ask is, why was another agency chosen over us? Right. And then a lot of time they will share. They'll say, whatever reason that is, but now I know what I need to adjust, right? But then if you don't know,
yeah,
you just walk away, you'll never get better, right? And I
yeah,
look at it
yeah.
as an opportunity, not as a, a decline, but rather as an opportunity to improve or step up even more.
Yeah, that's such a great practice, not just for, building your ability to be told no and to, not be discouraged by that, but also just to continue growing all the time. The next question is a bit of a fun one. I know you already talked about the White House event, but do you have any other um, like favorite IMG or most memorable IMG events that you've ever put on?
Definitely. There's a corporate family fun day that we do for one of our clients. So when they first came to us with their vision is just, okay, we're going to do this event at the LA Coliseum, and we want to do it for our employees to celebrate their achievements and all these milestones. And we really took that and, kind of just ran with their vision. And before you know it, we created different zones and this color because it's family. So we want to make sure it's easy to identify for the family. We created different zones such as the pamper zone, the gaming zone. We had a beer garden zone, a stage zone, food zone, dessert zone. But it was a super fun day. And what started out as one event really just continue its legacy. And even the client at first wasn't even sure it's going to be a second event, right? Because it was something they've never done before. But it was so well received that people that didn't attend the employees that missed out, they have FOMO. It's like, oh my gosh, I saw the pictures. Oh my gosh, I didn't know they have that. Because there are a lot of companies out there that do events, but they would just like, it's different. I think here at Innovate Marketing Group, we just like bring it up to another level. So people were surprised, like that was that kind of event. They thought it was just like a picnic at the park, with some barbecue. And it was definitely not just that. It has so many fun elements. And yes, definitely FOMO. So next year, more people came because they didn't want to miss out. And also they bring their family member, right? And it's such a great way for people to see, look, this is where I work. This is my coworkers, right? And this is like where I belong and where I spend Monday to Fridays with, so for us, like coming together and brainstorming on the concept and curating all the specific like zones and what goes into each zones was very special, especially on event day to be able to see it all come together. One of the things I do if I'm at events is I love standing by the door, like the entrance. So when people walk in, you can see and also hear the expression of the attendees. It's such a great feeling because they walk in, they're like, wow. Or they walk in, they're like, wow. Or like, look at that. Like they point things out, right? And if you're like curating this experience, when they point those things out, you're just like so proud, right? And I'm always like coming back to the team like, ooh, people did notice what you guys planned, right? Or like they really appreciate that. And those are like very proud moments. And yeah, as planners, I think we definitely live for those moments.
Yeah, yeah. Um, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and or be in events? And if not, like how did you come to that realization?
I think at some level, I knew I want to go into business. As to what type of business, I didn't know. And I did do corporate for a few years and I loved it. The company I worked for was wonderful, just amazing leadership there, amazing people. But something inside me just, called out for more, and perhaps is influenced by my father because he's also an entrepreneur, and I just saw his fruits of labor and how much he enjoyed his journey. So that really inspired me. As far as events go, no, I absolutely did not know. I honestly, for a long time, I was like, I don't know what business I could own, And then I really stumbled upon like events because it was just something I'm good at and I enjoy. And I realized, hey, this I don't want to call it a hobby, but this can really be a career, right? And I remember when the movie J-Lo came out, The Wedding Planner. I'm dating myself. You guys, some of you probably will need to YouTube this or Netflix it. But when the movie Wedding Planner came out, one of my really good friends was like, Amanda, you're J-Lo. You're J Lo, and I was like, "What do you mean J Lo? That's
What a
not
compliment.
J-Lo." I know, but then I was like, "That's not even a real job or career. It's movie. It's like, they're selling. I don't know. It's movie, right? It's fantasy." And funny enough, I think it was like a year later, I started my own events agency, and I became J Lo,
You
but the
became
Asian
J-Lo.
version.
I think it's so, as a young person in business, and I know like so many people around me at college age are always sort of plagued by the stress of feeling like, oh, I don't know exactly what I want to do. And you feel like you need to. And so hearing you talk about how you just sort of like you knew you wanted to do business but not events, and it just like kind of you fell into it and it worked out so well is really comforting to hear, that
Yeah, and it's
your
okay
path
not
just
to
kind of
know.
leads you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to know. I think as you look back in your journey, like what brings you joy, right? You find people like that switch career halfway through. They're like, I don't want to be a doctor. That doesn't bring me joy. That's what my parents wanted me to be, right? Or I don't want to be a dancer. I want to be a lawyer. It could be completely opposite, right? So you have to do what brings you joy, but hopefully what that brings you joy can also make you money, right? Because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, we all have financial commitments and obligation, right? So I think being able to combine that, like both my passion and make a living and have an established business like this, I think, I don't know, I'm super grateful, right? Because I not a lot of
Yeah.
people get to do something like this.
Yeah. What about your biggest like roadblocks that you've had in your career? Or like what would you say has been some of the most difficult things about being a female entrepreneur specifically?
About female, I have one, but it's not necessarily female. I think I mentioned in the beginning, for my first business, I had a business partner. And for that
Hmm.
business, we did 8 years together. And after 8 years, we dissolved, right? And having to dissolve a company, I mean, having a company is like having your kid. And to kill your kid, that's not, is so hard to do. To close down business, trying to, start another business. And at that moment, at that juncture in time, I really questioned myself, hey, do I want to do this like again?
Mm.
Right. And obviously, you guys know the answer because we're here talking today, 8 years later, 7 years later. But at the time, I was really at a crossroad. Like, do I want to continue and open another events agency, or do I want to go back to corporate America, or do I want to just stay home and be a full time mom? Right. And I think all my friends are laughing right now because they know I'm super active. So even if I'm stay at home mom, I'd probably be like on PTA and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, just because I have my own business doesn't, I'm still on the PTA. So, but anyways, long story short, but what I'm trying to say is I just love events so much. So that's why I did start a second company. But this one we did focus more on corporate events. So really specializing, and it's actually what I studied, because in college I studied business and marketing, right? So it
Mm.
kind of was hand in hand. And I just, relationship is really big part of what I love also, and owning my own business. And that, I think the difference between social and corporate events is that with corporate events, there is, the opportunity to kind of do it again next year, versus some
Mm.
social events is like a one time
Mm.
opportunity and then that's it, right? So I
Yeah.
love that with corporate events, there's all these strategies, there's KPIs, and there's like growth involved. So it's just very energizing.
Yeah. And I, for one, am very glad that you chose to come back and start an agency because that means I get the amazing opportunity to be here right now. Um, okay, what is the best advice that you've ever received from a mentor?
First of all, get a mentor. Always get a mentor. And then I would say one of the mentor advised me to start like become the best of the best in that city and then expand out. So that's actually exactly my
Mm.
strategy when I first started my events business. I was best of the best of Pasadena. Like if people want to do events in Pasadena, they know to call to call me, right? Or my company. And then it really expanded. And then we became like best of the best of Los Angeles, right? And then so it's like you kind of built a reputation. So that's like a really good one. Another great advice is nobody can take value away from you. But then if you add value wherever you go, you will always be indispensable, right? So for
Mm.
me, I always want to make sure I add value no matter what clients we bring on, no matter what, group I'm part of, right? Like the boards I sit on, even just contributing my time on something that I'm passionate about. So it's important. Like, how do you add value?
Hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like starting as a big fish in a small pond and then being able to grow from there. You have so many great little lines and tidbits of fantastic advice, but is there a specific mantra that you like live by in your just in your life or in business or like one really, you know, yeah, one mantra that you really live by?
Yes, mine is work smart and play smart. So I guess that kind of brings back to like who I am as a person and also our culture here. So, and it goes hand in hand. And I was brought up that way, right? When I'm working, I'm working, I'm completely focused. But when I'm playing, I'm playing, I'm completely focused and just really being in the present. There are some people, they're like at work and they're thinking about play, right? And then they're at play, they're thinking about work. So that just really disrupts the system. So like being really present. So yes, my mantra is work smart and play smart. I used to say work hard and play hard hard, but I changed it to working smart and playing smart.
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna start telling myself that more. What is your favorite thing about what you do?
What I mentioned earlier, the relationship building.
Mm,
Because for
mm-hmm,
me, like with all the clients we work with all the vendors we work with, like we don't call our, for our clients, it's not just about like a one time relationship. We're really here building a partnership, right? And with our vendors, we don't call them just our vendors, we call them partners because we're at the pinnacle, right? But we help organize like so many elements. A lot of big company hire us so that they only have one point contact they need to be in contact with, and then we under us have like 10 or 20 partners that we're communicating with, organizing with, and all those components that we're managing, right? So for me
yeah.
it's about that relationship, that I could just pick up a call, like someone can't get a certain, negotiation deal, but we can, right? It's because of the
Mm-hmm.
partnership we have. And also building that partnership, that trust with the client. If they trust you, then I think that's what the foundation of it all, right? They know you're not just in it for the money. There's a bigger purpose, there's a bigger mission. And then, we really find clients that we really align with their mission as well, right? So TikTok is one of our clients, and we love their mission because they're all about sparking joy, and we're all about changing lives for the better. So it's a perfect match, right?
Yeah, yeah. And of course, we're called Innovate Marketing Group. So, how do you, as just a boss or just someone in the workplace, how do you go about encouraging innovative ideas?
We always ask the team that looking at your event, what is your wow factor? Right. I think logistics and stuff, that's all there, all the ducks in the row. But what is the one thing attendees will walk in and be like, wow, I'm going to remember that. Right.
Mm,
And if they don't have that wow factor, they need to go back to a drawing board and infuse that into the event. So a
yeah.
different event could be different thing. At the hotel opening, we had like a huge fire breather, right? Like at the entrance. So that really like set the tone, like, wow, we're stepping into something phenomenal. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure my hair doesn't catch on fire. No, that won't happen. But like at one of the event we had like literally a life size, it was a corporate holiday party. We had a life size gingerbread house. Like you and I could walk into it, Bird. Yeah. But then
I would
afterwards, that
die to
gets
be there.
donated to like a children's hospital. It has a good cause. Or we had, different elements that just really bring the wow factor. So I think for each one, trying to think, because that's also part of our company values, right? Wow service,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also like wow factor and innovation. So always trying to come up with ways to be innovative, right? And then during the pandemic, we obviously I felt a lot of pressure because like you said, our name is Innovate Marketing Group, right? So do we, and that's there as a reminder. So very intentional. I want us, because you
Mm,
remember what I mentioned about why I started a business, and that we're
yeah.
not innovating, we're not being fresh, we're not coming up with the next thing, that we are just another boring event. And I don't want to be like that, right? So during the pandemic, we pivoted to doing virtual events. And then even then, it's like, how do you kind of level up that experience so it's not just another Zoom event? And a lot of people were struggling with virtual event. They're like, oh, Zoom fatigue, and people don't want to come to the virtual event anymore. And I have to say, I'm super proud of our team because we weren't having that problem, right? People come to our event, we have 90% engagement rate. Even the platforms were reaching out to us like, we done thousands of events. Never have we seen 90% engagement. So then they really kind of dissected, like they're like, can we do a, interview with you afterwards? We just want to like, what did you guys do? I'm like, you could see it, right? It's all on the back end and the front end, but they're like, okay, so we really plan out kind of the attendee journey that we want the attendee
Mm,
to experience. And that's how we plan, kind of when we plan events, that's our way of thinking about what we want the attendee to experience. you know.
Yeah. Wow. This is incredible. I'm learning so much.
I'm
Um,
glad.
okay, so I have one last question. And first, I just want to say this has been amazing. I'm so grateful that I got to pick your brain about some of these things because you have so much wisdom. But my last question is, what advice would you give to a young woman like me who is looking to start their career?
I'd definitely say keep your hands up. Like because right now we have two interns, and when we ask, like, oh, who do we want to do this interview with? Obviously you kept your hands up, so then the opportunity came in front of you. And sometimes, I would say just keep your hands up. The opportunity is there for someone who's ready, right? And also, like, there are moments in your professional journey, and you'd be surprised. I mean, I'm part of my professional journey for what, 18 years now. There's still moments where I feel like I'm being stretched, and then you just want to give up during those moments. Like, this is too hard. I didn't learn this yet. I just don't know. Right? Or maybe you did research, you put all your heart and soul into it, and you just feel like I'm still not there. But when you're at that moment, it's that you have to keep in mind that's the moment you're being stretched. If you already know everything, you're not learning. You already know it, right? So when I'm being stretched, I know that's because I'm about to hit another level. You think the first time we did the presidential event, we didn't feel stretched? Hell, of course we feel stretched. We totally felt it, because they needed a certain type of riser. They needed like certain parameters. They had to play the whole song for the coming onto the stage. We're like, what? Like, definitely feel stretched. Like working with the Secret Service. What did you say again? You're gonna shut down our entire valet area? How would the other 300 guests get in? We'll figure it out. Thank you. Okay, we'll figure it out. Right? But those moments when you just feel so stretched, take that as a blessing, because when you come out that the end of it, you're now at a different level, right? And don't give up. Instead, find ways to help you get over that hump, right? And take a deep breath and just like, I'm almost there, right? I think it's all about perspective. And also another tip I would say is about your mindset, right? As you're looking for your next career or your job, it's all about mindset. Like, and then, you could say, oh, this is a very boring job. I'm just filing. But are you just filing? Do you know what you're filing? Right? Perhaps you
Mm,
ask, like, are you asking those questions? Like, what am I filing? Or are you just filing? Right? And then also the
yeah.
last one is like adding value. Again, how do you add value? Because if you become a valuable member, you will always have a job, right? Because no matter where you go, you add value, right? They will say, "Oh my God, yes, Burr was awesome. Burr, because of Burr, we did this, we did this, we did this," right? Then you add value, And if you don't know what that is, I think a great thing to do is ask, like, "How
Hmm.
can I help you?" Right? Like, "How can I help you? What's my mission here?" Right? And then the beginning, just be a sponge and learn as much as you can, and just keep an open mind. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
This is awesome. It's so fun talking to you. And for those of you that are tuning in, I mean, I give Bird a lot of credit. I've only met her because we're still in pandemic, so we're in a hybrid mode here at the agency. But I met her in person, and Bird is always just bright and with a big smile. She always makes sure she comes up and introduce herself. I'm not scary looking, but we have had interns where they don't come up and do that, and you want to make sure you meet the leadership, you say hello, right? So they remember you versus like, oh, Bird, we had an intern named Bird. We're like, oh, that's now, right? Like, make yourself memorable, and I just love how professional she is. So you're on a path of success. And so glad that we could do this here today together. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you for very insightful questions. And hopefully, those of you that are tuning in or watching, that you have some key takeaways that you could go back when mapping out your own career journey. Make sure to follow us at Innovate MKG and check out our podcast on Event Up and just follow us everywhere. We'll chat with you next time. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.